Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Commerce Show. Today, I'm excited to present to you my special guest. He's called Tomer David from Sourcing Monster. So, Tomer is a professional Amazon FBA seller, but also a sourcing expert. In this episode, we have talked about various subjects, but the first one was to understand what motivated him to set a goal to reach. And actually, the goal to reach was to generate 10 grand a month in sales profit out of Amazon FBA. I can tell that he overpassed that objective. He's currently targeting to end this year with 120,000 of profit a month. So he's having a lot of expertise around Amazon FBA, and you will, I guess, really enjoy this podcast. We talked about Etsy, we talked about Walmart Marketplace, also we talked about Shopify. It's a really complete podcast, and as you will notice, I've started to shrink the podcast to a 30 up to 35-minute format so you can enjoy it into a shorter period of time. I'm also proud to announce that this episode will be closing the season 1 of the Commerce Show, and we're going to be back in January for the season 2 with lots of new stuff, and I'm really excited about it. So stay with me. The podcast starts right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Commerce Show. Today, I'm really excited to be with Tomer David from Sourcing Monster. Hello, Tomer. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you very much for having me, Philip. How are you?
I'm doing really great on this Friday morning that we're recording just at the mid of October. So I'm really, really interested about your background. I read a lot about you, and I think you're going to be a really nice discovery for our audience. So I know you started in the e-commerce 12 years ago, and you've evolved as a sourcing expert and also an FBA, so Amazon FBA expert. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey so far?
Yeah, so I started with e-commerce, having our own platform to sell jewelry online. It was diamond jewelry, fine jewelry, and learned really ton of things. Back then, when I started, it was very easy to drive traffic very inexpensively, and getting really crazy returns with SEO. And things changed like we see now in the Amazon space, but things became much more competitive. And hard to do. And I shifted from that business to do Amazon, not just because it was more competitive, but also because of the lifestyle that an Amazon business could give you.
Hmm.
So that's a little about my journey. I'm sure that I'm gonna share more while you ask me more questions.
Yeah, for sure. After being in e-commerce, you decided to focus more on marketplaces such as Amazon, and you're talking about lifestyle. I'm curious to hear more about what were you expecting, and is it the reality? Because we see so much training online, like get your Amazon FBA carrier started right now. You're gonna get $1 million a year, and so what's the truth about it? So how much time does it took you to reach that lifestyle, and what some new Amazon seller can expect, and what's the time
Yeah, yeah.
frame? And I'm interested in
Very
that.
good question. Very good question. A lot of people get dreams sold to them by some people that are not always true. It's very important to set expectations, because if you don't have the right expectation, you're doomed to fail. You expect one thing, then it doesn't happen, and then you say, "Oh, it doesn't work," or "It's not what I expected," then you quit. That's what happened to a lot of people. So when I was started, I was very clear on what I want. I knew what I don't want in, like, from the other business. I didn't want to manage a big team. That's what I did in the jewelry business. I didn't want to
Yes.
have to be tied to a location. So with the diamonds and jewelry, you always have to be there. Like you have inventory that's worth millions of dollars, you can just leave it with some random team member. You have to be there due to security, and you can just go and disappear for like 2 or 3 weeks for vacation somewhere. You have to be there nonstop. So that's something that for me, I knew I don't want to be tied to a location or to a specific time. I want to be able to work when I want and how I want. And that's what an online business, not just Amazon, gives you. So that's what I really wanted to achieve. How long it took me, it's also like important that you set the right expectation, because after a month or two, most likely you won't be able to support yourself with your Amazon business. That, it will come to a point that it will allow you to live a lifestyle where you can work a few hours a day, or don't work for a few weeks and then come back to it, or build system. It takes time. In my case, it took me a year and a half until I was able to replace my income and
Wow.
pretty much do this full time. Now my case was a little different too, because I didn't really need the money like right away, because I had my other business. So I
Hmm.
really reinvested everything. That allowed me to
That's
grow it
amazing.
to a point that I could,
So I guess
do
it
that.
it gave you a faster pace because
Yes.
you were reinvesting all your money, so you were able maybe to buy more stock to get more margins, and then reduce just the stress over your body because you weren't waiting for that money to come in to be able to live. So
Mhm.
that's amazing to hear. And why have you decided to select Amazon as your, let's say, your main channel? Because I think this is what I understand. It's your main channel.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I decided to go on Amazon because, not just because I heard and it sounds to me good and nice. I pretty much did the research. I sat for 2 months. That's what I did. Just researched and created like a nice Excel sheet that I can compare between each method that will allow me to achieve my goal. And my goal was to make. We're gonna talk about it, but my goal was to make in 1 year $10,000 profit every month. Doesn't mean that I would need to do it in like 2 or 3 months, but at the end of the year, even if it's the last month, my goal was to make $10,000. So I thought
Wow.
and sat down, and what method will allow me, which option will allow me to achieve that. So I was debating between affiliate marketing,
Yeah.
between flipping websites. That's also something that I did before. I would buy content websites, improve them,
Oh,
whether
okay.
that's their on page SEO or some easy, quick wins that I can do to increase the value of the website, create some more content, and then sell it again. And that was also an option. So it was content, flipping websites, buying and selling, affiliate marketing, and Amazon FBA. From all these options that I lay down, I thought that I have the highest chance achieving my goal with Amazon FBA, because you can actually see results pretty quick. It's people sometimes confuse, but Amazon, it's not really a cash flow business, it's an inventory business. So
Oh
you don't
yes.
see you don't see really much the profit. But for me, profits, even if they're on the paper and I'm not really seeing them right away, that's for me was achieving the goal. Because like I said, I did have other business, so I didn't really need that money like in my pocket. So that's why I choose Amazon, because you can relatively see quick results and scale it to uh, something relatively big in short amount of time without a big operation.
So most of the people might ask themselves right now, what type of product now you're selling? Are you still in jewelry, or so what's the niche you're in, or maybe the niches? I guess you're
Yeah.
maybe in more than one product. And can you help us to understand what has been your thought process on selecting that specific niche of product?
Yeah. So the first product that I had failed. It was party
Love it.
decoration
Love it to
themed.
know that you failed. I want to
Yes.
hear more about that.
Yeah, yeah, and I lost few thousands of dollars, and I really sat down with myself and really thinking whether it's worth it or not. Because when you fail, you don't know what's the issue. You don't see the future. You just say, "Oh, maybe it doesn't work." But something inside me um, really believed seeing some other people having success, whether that's in my close circle or some people on the internet, made me think that there is something that I did wrong. So I pretty much adjusted and went in all full power on my second product, which was more related to something I know, which is jewelry. So we created like jewelry kits and stuff to help jewelers, and from there I just expanded to some other related niches. I'm in the health and beauty. That's my main account. Then we have another account we opened last year that is focusing on toys for kids, like Montessori toys.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. And I guess you have some. We are pretty big in Canada in toys. We manage an account, and I'm curious to see if in the US do you have the sales restriction, so the gated category when you enter into the Christmas period. Have you
Mhm.
faced that type of challenges?
So last year they asked us to, like, as long as you're doing FBA, you don't have any limitations. But if you're trying to do
Yeah.
FBM, you have to provide anything. But I'm doing FBA, so for me it wasn't an issue.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
This year, actually, the beginning of the year, just after last Q4, they started to be very strict with the compliance, all the certificates that you have to provide for each product, lab tests, and all of that. So that
Okay.
was a big struggle that we had, and we were able to overcome this by just doing the tests. And but I assume to a big company that have thousands of SKUs just like that, asking them to provide certificates for each product, if they
It's a
didn't have
headache.
it,
It's a
it
headache.
could create a big issue.
Yeah. We have around 7,000 SKUs on Amazon FBM, and it's wow. Each year it's always, but we are in the top 1,000 account that sells on Amazon in Canada. So I guess we're doing a few things right, but it's so it's an headache when we enter into the Christmas period. So yeah,
Yeah,
I guess we're
yeah,
we're gonna have fun again this year. Um,
yeah.
so
I'm
I
sorry,
would
I just want to add something.
yeah,
I just woke
yeah,
up
go
this
ahead.
morning. You have plans and everything is ready. And I just woke up today to see that my limits decreased, the restock limit. So that's a
Uh,
big challenge. And, but that's the life of, when you decide to go and do business with Amazon and put all your eggs there, you also need to understand that you are depends on them. So it doesn't really come to me as a surprise. Um, Specific, I mean, the restock limits, yes, but in general I'm always ready because it's not in my control. Like, things could change, and we see that there are so many changes in the Amazon FBA game.
of course, and I think it's important to understand how to interact with Amazon to make sure you are well understood and you're being respected by them, because it's not always easy. So I'm amazed to see that you are. I don't know the word in English to say that you live well with the fact that you might face some pretty important challenge, and we're gonna get back to those challenges when we were talking about your journey. But I would like to know that I know you're selling maybe on other platforms, or you had been selling on other platforms such as eBay, Etsy. We're talking about Walmart.
Yeah.
And of course, I guess Shopify for the direct e-commerce. So which one do you prefer and why?
So my approach to selling on so I'm a really big believer in focus. I wasn't really like that before, maybe a few years ago, and when I saw that that's what really uh, hindering me from success, I decided that focus is really the number one thing for me. So I focused on Amazon only. But while the sales grew, I realized that there is just money on the table that you just leave by not listing your products on other marketplaces. So our strategy is just to put all the ASINs on every marketplace without really digging into each platform and trying to master it like we master Amazon. So we sell on eBay, on Etsy, on Walmart, Shopify, but it's pretty much putting the catalog there and letting it just sell. I would say that for us, it's Walmart is the biggest.
Okay.
Then eBay and Etsy pretty much the same, and Shopify is the smallest. obviously you have to drive traffic in order to see some results, and
Oh
we
yeah.
don't really drive any traffic except some uh, light SEO work that we do. um, but
Hmm.
yeah, Walmart is definitely going to it is growing, as we all see, and it's going to be, in my opinion, the next big thing, you know.
Oh yes, of course. That's sure. We experienced a lot, some good success on Walmart, and yes, I can say if you're listening, you're only selling on Amazon right now, and you're considering to reduce maybe the risk of, let's say, having an account suspended and lose all your sales. Might be a good fit for you to have a look into Walmart if you can list on their
For sure.
marketplace. Canada one is honestly growing really fast, so it would be a really good idea. And do you think one of the platform we were mentioning earlier would be easier to start? So if you had to start back today, which platform would you use first to, let's say, build your knowledge, and then after, what would be your plan in 30 seconds for that question?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends the type of products that you sell. So if you sell like arts and crafts, definitely first thing to go is Etsy. And you'll be surprised, even not our arts and crafts would sell there very well. So Etsy for me was the easiest. It's a very simple interface that they have. They don't give you a lot of tools or things to play with, which, as you know, for someone beginner or just you want an easy win, that would be my choice if I had to start like and do it again.
Hmm.
Then I would pretty much do Walmart and then eBay, in my opinion. Shopify is the last one because you have to get your own account. Actually, Shopify, you don't need any hosting or anything like that, so it's relatively easier than, let's say, Magento. In the jewelry
Yes.
business, I was heavily like working with the Magento. I'm a developer, so I like doing it. So when there was an issue, I would just dig and try to fix it and build modules on the back end and things like that. So I had a lot of issues with that. But yeah, Etsy, I think it's a good choice for
To
beginners.
start. Really amazing. So now we enter in my favorite part. We're going to talk about your journey to 10 grand a month
Yeah,
of profit. So
yeah.
can you tell us why have you targeted 10 grand, and what have been your challenge to get there actually?
So yeah, I decided 10 grand because I wanted something that can support my lifestyle, and at least when I replace my other jewelry like business income, to help me start. That was the goal. Obviously that was the first year goal. Then it grew up to 50,000, which I was able to reach. Then this year it's 120, which I don't think I'm gonna reach, but I'm close to there. And the
In you mean in profit
in profit, yeah. That
per
was
month?
so the sec a month. The,
Wow.
the the first year was 10,000. I reached it. Then the second year 50,000 a month. I was able to reach it. And then this year I plan to really do it 120 a year. I'm not gonna reach there, but I'm close. So I'm happy enough. But as far as this the strategy that
Mhm.
I want, like I said, okay, what I did wrong. I try to really analyze what I did wrong before. Like I said, I think it was the focus. I know it was the focus now, but back then I thought, really, I'm doing too many things, but I'm not doing them like excellent. Like I want to do one thing and just be the best at it. So I set and decided I'm gonna go all in on Amazon, and then I said, okay, what are the resources? How much time I have to invest in it? And
Mm.
money wise, I didn't really plan because I just, you don't need a lot of money to start an Amazon FBA business. We
Of
could,
course.
with 5 or 10,000, you can start and then just take the profits and grow it slowly, slowly. So I knew that from 9 in the morning, 9:10 until 7 p.m., I would be in the jewelry business. So for me, in that time, it wasn't an option. Then I knew when I come back, I have to be with my family and with my girls. And after that, I will just be exhausted. So I said, okay, I'm not a morning person, but I have to find time in the morning to wake up and spend at least 3 hours every day. And that's what I did. I woke up at 4 a.m. every day. That was my plan, for 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. I'm sorry, 7 a.m. until everyone else would wake up. I could put 3 hours of focused work and do that. And that's what I did. And I was really religiously following this. I knew that that's the most important thing. Just follow it for a year. I didn't know if I'm going to reach the goal, but I knew that I owe for myself to give it all and just try it and follow the plan. Don't change the plan. A lot of times we start with a plan, but we change it after a few months because we don't believe in it enough, or we think it's not gonna work, or whatever reasons are.
Of course, that's the reason lots of people drop the gym. That's the
Yeah,
same comparison.
I guess it's the same reason. Like, they don't see results and then they change the plan. But if they stick to their plan, after a year, they will, be, much bigger, or whatever their goals are, right? It was very hard
Nice.
waking up at 4 a.m. because I had to really sacrifice a lot in my life. I had to stop. I like doing martial arts, so I like to do jujitsu. So the
Oh,
classes
nice.
were at 8 p.m., 8 to 9:30. So I knew that if I would go to classes 8 to 9:30, it's very hard to get a good night's sleep, like just after an intense training. So I wouldn't sleep until 12 probably, and if I would sleep like go to bed at 12, I wouldn't be able to wake up at 4 and be, focused and energized.
Of
So I
course, and
just
you have a
sacrificed.
family, and you have a family also. We didn't tell it, but you have two girls, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
it was, I had to sacrifice and just pretty much like for a year, didn't really socialize a lot with people, or went do the things that I like a lot, and was really all in on this, and that's what I think really allowed me to achieve my goal. I was like obsessed with getting my goal. There was no other options. I really was focused and
hmm,
determined to achieve that goal.
that's amazing. And what type of obstacle and challenges you faced actually? So the first one would be to have enough sleep to to be able to work. But have you faced any issues at the beginning or during the first year? What has been the challenges?
Yeah. So the biggest challenge was really to sacrifice things and be disciplined to follow the plan. Everything else kind of followed, because in 3 hours you'll be surprised, but I was able to do a lot of work that actually, now that I'm doing it full time, I do sometimes in a full day. It makes you be so much efficient and productive, knowing that you have 3 hours only. That's what you got. So you really
Yeah,
work on the things that matter.
yeah.
um
It's called
I
the
don't really.
The Parkinson rule. Like when you have not a
Okay.
lot of time to do something, you will be more effective.
Yes,
That's
and yes,
that's a rule of life.
that's
Nice,
that's
nice to hear.
100% true. I see it now that I'm like taking more the time. I would open some other tabs while I work on some, whatever I'm working on. And back then was like boom, so focused and
Yep.
productive. As far as like Amazon FBA challenges, don't remember any particular changes, but it's challenges that we all have, whether you're starting or as an experienced seller. We have issues and updates and things all the time. It's something that it happening on a regular basis. That's why I told you earlier, I'm not really surprised. I'm actually anticipating issues to come, and we just have to pivot and work with it and find a way to do things differently.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. And when you launch like a new product, because I guess your job is always to source new product, find new opportunity, new niche that you can exploit. Uh, what type of strategy do you put in place to rank your product? Because we know that Amazon algorithm will generate some organic traffic to your product page if you have some good reviews and if you have good SEO on the product. But I'm curious to hear more about you. So, what would be your launch strategy for a new ASIN?
Yeah, yeah. So I like to really always look at things from perspective that, okay, what works now? So what worked for me before, not necessarily what works now. Things always changing and strategies changing. Depend also on where you are in your journey. So for example, for myself, this year I didn't really source a lot of products, mainly variations, but didn't really source a lot of products. due to me preparing the business for sale. We're going to sell in one of the brands, the main brands, in few months. So we didn't really want to mess up with the profits. You launch product, you lose few months, or at the beginning you lose in order to get rankings and be profitable later. But my approach, my philosophy is to focus on the product. Once you have a good product, everything else becomes easier. And you see it with a lot of like low quality Chinese sellers, that they bring everything to the market and they are very aggressive with giveaways. Market like giveaways, it's a way to help your product rank higher for those that are not selling on Amazon. And
Mm.
recently, last week, Amazon banned the main players in the game that allow you to do giveaways. So that was a shock to the entire Amazon space community. And
Because it
it's not
was
that safe.
against TOS, I guess, right?
Yes, it's basically 100% against TOS. TOS saying you cannot manipulate the ranking algorithm by doing those things. They are not telling you what and what not to do, but specifically they say if you're doing things that will manipulate the search results, it's against TOS, and that's 100% against it. I never was really with the giveaways because approach, because I was always wanted to do something that I could that is scalable and sustainable as far as the TOS and things like that. But recently, a few months ago, we started to explore giveaways. So for me, it was during like this announcement by Amazon was amidst the testing, heavy testings that I did with the giveaways to see how effective it is. But after their announcement, obviously, I didn't do it. My approach is basically bring an amazing product with an amazing USP, and everything else just is straightforward, doing whatever I can do as far as driving traffic, getting reviews, and doing pretty much everything organically. Of course, there are more tactics to this as far as listing optimization, conversion rate, things like that. That, in my opinion, are super super important. It's a topic that I love. Like, you can literally make difference of tens of thousands of dollars in a website or in your Amazon listing by changing one main image. So that's
Of
something that
course.
I said I love. I really like it.
I'm curious to see if you have some specific tool that you would recommend to users that if they're starting, what would be the tool set that they can use to, let's say, help them to identify some opportunities, but also optimize their listing or things like that. Do you
Yes.
have things that come to your mind?
For sure. So my approach is to, with Amazon, you're limited. You're limited with what you can test. It's not like your own website. You can put Hotjar, you can put pixels. You see data that you don't see on Amazon, on the Amazon side. So on
Of
the
course.
Amazon space, you're much more limited to what you can test and how you can test. A lot of our tests are really like 360. We change something and we see how it's affecting like results day by day. We check like mainly conversion rate, to see how effective is our change. It's very important, you probably know that, to test one thing at a time so you can see what actually contributed to the change, whether it's
Yeah.
like lower performance or higher performance. But Pickfu, it's a great tool to test images prior to actually changing your listing. So for example, let's say you want to know by real audience from the USA which picture is better. So it's a survey. You put like two variations or three or four variations, and you let the audience decide what they like, pointing them with specific questions. So this basically gives you more confidence before you change the actual image. Um,
Hmm.
Other tools is Amazon giving you the experiments tool, so you can change and check main image. You can change test a plus content, and if I'm not product title as well. I'm really waiting for them to release and have an option to test bullets. So it's an A/B testing tool,
Yeah.
and it's a little slow. It takes time with Amazon. So if you want quick results, just change it and check the numbers. Or if you want more, you have more time and you want to check things in a more thorough way, use the Amazon tool.
Hmm, that's amazing. So you're expecting them to roll out also tools to A/B test Bullet, but if I would ask you, what do you think is the next big thing for Amazon seller? What would it be in terms of,
Yeah.
let's say, features or new markets, or I'm
Yeah,
more
yeah.
than curious to hear you.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw the hype that is going on in the last 2 days now with their product research tool. So Amazon is is released. It's not really showing on all accounts. You have to ask Seller Central for access if you don't have it, and it's for brands that allow you to do product research within the Amazon Seller Central platform. They give you the real numbers from their own data. It's not estimates like Helium 10 and some other tools. So it looks like they are going into that field, replacing those big software providers and allowing
Oh,
sellers to have all these tools in Seller Central. That's what it's look like going to happen in the near future.
oh wow. So, oh wow. Okay, so
Very
Amazon.
recent.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like 2 days ago they released it.
Oh wow. And
And again, it's
is it
not
in the
showing. You have to
US?
ask access. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna test it. I wasn't aware of that, but yeah, I'll let my team know. So what's the name? So it's product research tool, or
If I'm not wrong, it's product discovery. I didn't test it yet. I just connected to a lot of people in this space, so I just saw this big news and everyone like crazy about it. For me, I'm not really in launching like I said phase, so I'm gonna check it, but
yeah, for sure.
definitely, you know, very soon.
You will have to test it to conserve your sourcing monster name,
Sure.
of course. And I'm curious
Yeah.
to hear more about your podcast initiative and your YouTube channel. So why have you decided to start that channel, and what we can expect from sourcing monster in the next year?
Yeah, so I really wanted to share the knowledge so I can create a community. The main reason why I built it, so I can connect with people and really like
Like what
share
we
my
do
knowledge
today.
like we're doing now. One way
Yeah.
for me to get into connecting with people in the Amazon space was through the YouTube channel. When you approach them and you ask them to interview them, you kind of you don't have that barrier that you just come and they don't know you and you have no credibility and you just ask them some questions. So for me, that was the main reason. Just connect with people in the space so I can be able to ask them questions that can other people can benefit from as well, and build a community of people that I can help me and I can help them. That was the main reason. The more I did it,
Hmm.
the more I see that it's actually really helping people. For example, like last week I had um, this lady that I'm helping her, and she's like from the UK, and you see that it's actually changing her life. And she was like, look, Tommy, you don't even know how like your channel affected me and changed my life. And to me, that's the best feeling ever, knowing that I could really change someone's life and him having similar journey or change in their life. That's for me awesome. My plan is really to be the best resource on YouTube for Amazon FBA. Like, I don't have any agenda. I don't really sell anything. I'm not really promoting anything through the channel. Everything is completely free. Yes, we do have some affiliate stuff and things that people already using or need. That's the only things that I recommend. But really, that's my goal, to be the best resource for FBA knowledge.
Hmm, amazing. And how do you stay up to date? About the e-commerce and the marketplaces these days.
Yep. So first, I go to events. I recently been in Vegas 2 times. Some of them very expensive, some of them less expensive. I'm really connected with a lot of people and groups, whether it's WhatsApp groups for high sellers, for beginners, Facebook groups, WeChat groups. Really trying to keep my ears always open to what's working. But at the end of the day, I don't really share anything that I didn't try. So everything that I share is from my own experience and by
Hmm.
me trying it out, like except news that sometimes we share. Another thing that I mentioned earlier is that we built script last week that just scrape data from Seller Central forums and send it to me every day via email. So instead of scrolling in Seller Central, opening each forum, you just get an email Excel report with all the topics split by each category, and then you can quickly skim the questions and the updates and see, okay, oh, that's something that interested me, let's explore it more. So that's a
Hmm.
way to keep myself up to date as well.
Hmm. As I said earlier, I would love to subscribe to that newsletter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
I
I
can
think
add
it
you as a
would,
recipient.
yeah,
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
it would really interest lots of people. But yeah, anyway, maybe it's the beginning of the new newsletter for Sourcing Monster
Yeah,
fans.
so actually, at the beginning of, so I just shared it with my audience too, and I said if enough people will comment that they want to be like, I create a pool or newsletter that could be sent every 2 days with these files. Yeah, why
Mm,
not? I already built the
that,
script, you know.
that's amazing. And as an ending questions, I would like to ask you, what would be your best advice for someone that would like to have an e-commerce and a lifestyle business like yours?
Yeah, the best thing is to really do your research before you start and be focused. So don't just jump because you see other people doing, or even myself telling Amazon it's good. Maybe it's not good for you. Maybe your stress toleration or some other factors that Amazon business brings are not really good fit for you. So maybe for you, an
Yeah,
eBay could be a better fit, or content website that doesn't really involve a lot of cash flow. So you
yeah.
really want to do your own research, good research, and know what your values, what you're looking for. And based on that, get a decision. And once you get the decision on where to go, just commit for at least 1 year to a plan, and don't judge by the results. So wait a year and only judge after that year ends and you know that you gave it all. If a year after you set the goals, you see it and you analyze the results, but you know that you didn't give it all, then obviously that you will feel bad and most likely you won't reach your goals.
Wow. Thank you so much, Tomer, for your time today. It has been an amazing talk. And of course, we're going to do another episode for sure in the next season, next year. I want to have an update on if you reach your goal, but also the new topics that we can explore. If people want to contact you, I guess, what is the best way to reach you?
Yeah, thank you first of all, for having me, and it's really a pleasure to connect with you. Thank you for having me as a guest, and they can just go to YouTube. It's Sourcing Monster.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just check
No,
out the videos if you're interested to learn about Amazon.
yeah, yeah, and I'll leave the link in the event. Actually, not the event, but the podcast comments and notes. So, thank you so much for being with me today, and talk to you soon, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. Thank you very much.